Hello, folks, and welcome to PJ's Media Reviews. Today, we're going to talk about a various cornucopia of topics, and there's not going to be any particular order, but I do have to warn you there will be spoilers for The Boys Season 2 and Raised by
Everything.
Wolves. Everything, pretty much. But just to get this out of the way, I want to talk about these two shows that were recently canceled.
Oh, yeah.
One is Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, and the other is Supergirl. Now, I only watched the first season and a half of Supergirl. I watched some of the Superman episodes in the later seasons. Not the show for me. Very bubblegum and CW cookie cutter. Smiles and giggles. Like that's the only way I can explain it. It's like
That's what it is.
It's pop. You know what I mean? It's
is.
brain candy. It's not. I've always imagined superhero shows like Supergirl or like the Arrow or Flash to be like a lot more serious than they are, but they're basically just soap operas. They're superhero soap operas.
The stream just started in the middle. That's weird.
What do you mean?
Started in the middle, or I don't know. This is Softy Boy.
It looks like it's been a minute and a half on our end.
Okay.
Let's take a look at. Hold on a second. Honestly, I didn't watch Supergirl, but it was a shame. It was a shame it was canceled. Yeah, kind of a shame. Go ahead.
It's a shame, yes and no. I mean, it's had a good run. It's had 6 seasons, which, I mean, to be honest, the thing was living on borrowed time anyway. It wasn't a very good show. It was canceled after season 1. They picked it back up again because they wanted to keep it on like full. It's like Black Lightning. Black Lightning is garbage, but that thing is still existing somehow. Because of this Arrowverse that manages to... The Arrowverse is amazing because it manages to suck up these shows and keep them running. And yet the only show it should have kept running is goddamn Constantine, because that was great. I don't mourn for Supergirl, the show. I haven't seen the final 2 seasons, which I will catch up on eventually. I will finish all of these Arrowverse shows, because now that Arrow's finished and Supergirl is finished, I'm assuming Legends of Tomorrow won't go on for that long now that they have bigger shows like Superman and Lois. Batwoman, they don't need Legends too much. I'm probably gonna finish all of these seasons, like, because I just have a couple of seasons left in them, but to go. But yeah, Supergirl was fun. I understand that you don't watch it, and I had a friend at work that was all over that show, like angry at it because it wasn't representative of what the comic books were or how the characters were. I'm like, but these Arrowverse shows aren't about necessarily fidelity or accuracy. That's not really what they're for. This is just all, and it's not even about, I'm going to be mean, it's not even about making a good show per se, because the directing is often kind of awkward, kind of clunky. The CG is shit. There's no other way to put it. It's just bad CG, like all of the effects. But it's fun. That's what it is. It's just fun shows that you can kind of sit down, you turn your brain off. There's an adventure. It's always the good guys versus the bad guys. It's very, a good guy and a bad guy is very well defined as well. There's never any ambiguity with it. Like, the bad guy is like a Nazi version of your good guy from Nazi Earth, right?
Yeah. I don't. There are good moments of CG effects, especially in the early seasons of Flash, and for the amount of episodes they do in a season, and you got to realize the production on these shows is grueling. Just ask Stephen Amell. I mean, they work that man to death almost. Like, the pace at which they have to film these shows is almost like what they do with soap operas. Like, they have to belt those out. So the actors, there aren't as many takes as you would get as, say, like a 1-hour drama on HBO where they have more time and there's more prep. Even you talk about Kevin Smith and his experience directing on one of these CW shows, and the director is really kind of, not to put down the director, but kind of like ancillary. As a director, you go there and everybody else kind of guides you because they already know what they're doing, and it's like, we got no time to screw around. It's like, Don't
Yeah,
don't try to make it too complicated. Just do the script, do the lines, do the script, get it out there. And yeah, they sometimes the rushed special effects, I suppose, is a result of time constraints. But sometimes it looks really good, and sometimes it looks really bad.
it also, from what I understand, the budgets vary too, because they have this thing where they're allocated a certain budget per episode.
Yeah.
But if they're intelligent enough, they can actually save that. They can actually spend less on one episode and keep it for the next, and then spend less on that. And so they can do that for multiple episodes. And that's how they managed to get their big King Shark or Gorilla Grodd stories out, because they saved up on multiple episodes and then kept like a bulk budget for one thing where they can have that story. And that's what they did for like crossover episodes as well. Because from what I understand, there's this thing where you can actually keep whole budget over, and then you can use that on like a crossover episode, and that enables your, for example, Supergirl episode to get a kind of a bloated budget because you're using Flash budget on it.
Yeah. You know what? The crossover episodes is really the only thing I go back to. Like I stopped watching Arrow and all the shows I used to watch at one point, and then I just stopped. But I always went back to the crossovers, and that's kind of a brilliant strategy, because even if you're not a fan of the individual shows, you might tune in for the Crisis on Infinite Earth thing, or the thing that they did the season before, which is actually the best, the one where they go into the future and Oliver has one arm, just like in the comics. Yeah.
I will always respect the Arrowverse. Like Arrow, I think, is probably one of the worst of those shows because it started off kind of strong, but then it just fell off immediately.
I love the first two seasons. And not love, but I like the first two seasons compared to the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I found like all of it was like, I don't know. There's like, it was all shit. The Flash, I think, is the strongest show. I think in terms of everything.
Agree. Yeah.
And like Legends of Tomorrow, I took as like a big joke, but it was really fun. And then when they came in, like when they understood that they were a joke, they, instead of trying to be serious and being the butt end of the joke, they really took it like, they were like, okay, let's do comedy and let's make it full blown humor, and that started working really well. But all of these, I will always respect these shows for what they did in terms of like cinematic universe in TV. Because that, like, you just making crossover events with like 4 or 5 shows at some point, being able to maintain such a huge cast of characters, being able to have, so like, I don't know, just it was really good. At its, I haven't seen Batwoman yet because I'm not caught up on these seasons.
I watched the first episode and I didn't hate it. I didn't find it that interesting.
But that's what all of these shows are. That's how they are. But the thing is, they build on that. Most of these first seasons, if you were to just take them at face value, except for maybe The Flash, most of these first seasons are really, really mediocre, like really, really off. But you grow attached to the characters, and each season builds off like each season of like another show. Eventually you get like attached, and then it's always the same plot anyway.
I've watched some of the Gorilla Grodd stuff on Flash that I liked, and I know they're doing something that I'm interested in watching. This is the first time I'm going to watch Flash in a long time. Like, I'm actually looking forward to it. Is they go to the Gorilla Grodd world, or like the jungle where and they're in like full CGI environments and stuff.
Well, they've gone to the jungle already.
Yeah, but they're going back there, and it's going to be a whole thing.
It's going to be a whole okay.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. And they did King Shark in one episode that I found the effects were decent for that kind of show. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. By the way, King Shark is a character in the new Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. All right, before Jeff Johns is his name, which is the guy that is now basically the creative head for everything DC related, that's film and TV. Before he was appointed that, there were like conflicting rights issues between the shows and the movies, that's why the first like seasons of Supergirl don't have Superman in. Yeah. Every time there would be a Superman, it would be like a mention, or you'd see just an arm coming in, like into the camera, that kind of stuff.
Or it'd be so far away in the background
you can't see him, right?
Yeah.
So I respect the shows for being able to exist in an environment where they shouldn't have. all of these shows they never should have lived. Especially like they try to do. It was so unfair to them. They try to do these Suicide Squad storylines with Amanda Waller, all of this, and then the movie comes. Like the movie team starts making this, and so the movie, like the rights for all of these characters are stripped from them. It's like now you have to kill your Deadshot. You have to kill all of these characters that you're setting up with it. You're creating. It's like, oh, you have to get rid of them. It's like they try to make a show, and every time DC was like, "Now we're gonna make a movie out of this," it was like you can't use that anymore. And so they couldn't do Batman for the longest time. They still can't actually. So it's like, okay, we'll do Batwoman.
They can. That's the thing. They can.
Now they can.
Not on CW. Not on. There's like I believe that there's no way. There's no chance. Like there's 1,000% no chance that you will ever see a Batman series on CW. They'll do Batwoman for sure, but I think Batman is, if they're ever going to do a TV show, they would reserve it for like HBO. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like they would.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Much like or HBO Max, much like the Gotham show that's coming out. Like if they're ever going to do they're going to do a spin-off of that with like Robert Pattinson. If that's ever a possibility.
You're probably right that Batwoman was a conscious decision, but I'm pretty sure Supergirl was like, there was probably like, we want to do a Superman show, but we can't. Now they can. Jeff Johns is in charge, so.
I think they're much more lenient, or they're much more comfortable with putting Superman on TV at the same time Henry Cavill was Superman, like than they would be of Batman. Like they're much more protective of Batman, I find. Because I honestly think they don't know what to do with Superman, so they are experimenting with the character and putting him on Supergirl.
Well, it's a Superman and Lois show too. It's
coming out.
It's not just Superman. It's more about the relationship, I think, between them both.
What do you think of Tyler Hoechlin as Superman?
Oh, bushy eyebrow man.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Yeah,
he's all right.
It's okay.
I mean, he's all right.
He's a very milquetoast kind of Superman. He's not very.
Well, like none of these characters are like, I'm gonna say, well developed. They're all like, you go into the CW shows, you go into this Arrowverse, you're like, how do you expect the Flash to be? Oh well, he's gonna be like that. How do you expect Superman to be? Oh well, he's gonna be like that, and that's how they are. Except for some, like sometimes you have like an arc about, I don't know, it'll be anything like sexual orientation, or it'll be some sort of family drama thing, but. Yeah, other than that, and the acting is never on point, right? There are plenty of actors that I've seen be in other shows or other movies, like outside of the Arrowverse, that are very, very competent. They're very competent actors.
Tyler Hoechlin is good, and I forget the name of the Richard Linklater film I saw a couple of months ago, but he's good in that. He plays. A nice guy, but kind of a douche. Like they're all frat guys anyway in the film in the 80s. But that's a good movie in itself. But other things I've seen him in, he's been pretty good. He was actually really good in a movie I saw recently with Andy Samberg called Palm Springs, the time loop movie.
Okay.
He plays the groom at the wedding, and there's a whole storyline that develops with him over the course of the film that I didn't see coming. But yeah. He's really good in that.
I mean, honestly, they're all, well, for the most part, they're all very good actors. I wonder what what's his name? In Discovery season 3 now. He's Manchester Black. Supergirl. Oh, what's his name?
I don't know. You're talking about God, I don't know his name.
Yeah. Anyway.
You're talking about the guy with Burnham, right? At the beginning.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what he gives us in Discovery season 3, in Star Trek Discovery season 3, because I know that the performances are going to be different. Like you perform differently once you're out of this Arrowverse thing.
Yeah.
But as I said, it's a fun thing. It's not the most quality show, and Supergirl. I mean, Supergirl. Of course, I mean. Is anyone surprised it was going to be cancelled?
I'm surprised they're doing the whole reimagining of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman with
David Ajala. David Ajala, yes.
David Ajala, right.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they can't have more than 4 or 5 shows run consecutively anyway, because
they're moving on. Like they're getting rid of the old shit and they're bringing in the new team.
Yeah,
it's like the next phase of the D.
it is. It's the next phase. Also, the idea is to slot basically a show every weeknight, right? You have to have people coming back every weeknight to watch one of your shows. Yeah. So whatever day you've got the Flash, then you've got Arrow, then you've got Supergirl, then you got Batwoman, then you got Legends. But it's like now Arrow's gone, so you got like Superman and Lois coming in. You get rid of Supergirl, you get another show. It's like, yeah, the only exception is like Black Lightning. I think that's not a CW. That's like a Netflix thing.
It is produced. It is a CW show, but it does come on Netflix. I'm not sure what the deal is, but it is somewhat a part of the universe.
It wasn't originally.
Yeah, it wasn't originally.
They retroactively fitted it into there. Much like Constantine. Constantine originally wasn't part of the universe, but it was filmed like nearby. Anyway, all of this is supposed to begin again on January. All of these shows pick up again January 2021 if everything goes to plan. And I don't know if they're going to have as big seasons this year. They might have like limited seasons. I wouldn't imagine them pushing their teams so hard, with the 2020, like 22, 23 episodes per season in this kind of environment.
All right. Do you want to move on to a show that I haven't seen? I've only seen the first episode of, but that you really liked and were upset that was canceled, and that's Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance, which is based on the 80s film Dark Crystal. Now, this is a prequel. This was a prequel, right?
Yeah.
If I understand correctly. Yeah. And what character is this? I
don't know their names.
Oh, okay.
I don't know their names.
This is one of the puppets from the show, and it's a very good-looking show, and it looks very expensive. But I wasn't all that interested in it. I did watch the movie, like when I was a kid, because puppets. And I watched anything like Labyrinth, anything that had to do with animatronics or like goblins, like Masters of the Universe, or anything that had to do with extensive prosthetic makeup or animatronics. Legend, The Devil in Legend, that used to freak me out as a kid. But I kind of like those mythical kind of shows and movies. And this was produced by the original movie was Jim Henson's work, right?
Yeah.
So Jim Henson puppets and whatnot. The Skeksis. I can't say it. Skeksis.
Yeah, the Skeksis.
Skeksis. Okay. Yeah, those are pretty scary. Like, they're not scary, but like it used to kind of freak me out when I was a kid. But yeah, what's the show? Just give me a general consensus of what you thought of the show, and because I don't know, I really know.
I would probably argue it's one of the greatest prequels that I've ever seen.
Oh, before you start, can I just ask, if you were to watch the first season, does it lead right into the movie? Like, would the second season be after the movie?
No, there would clearly be at least one or two more seasons. I think they will plan. I think, and like you know it. There's a gap now.
Okay.
That was already there technically before you see the movie. It's just that now you have there's an event that happens. The movie was post-event, and the prequel was leading into the event, and so I suppose that would have happened had we had 2 or 3 seasons. But now we have like a show pre-event and a movie post-event.
I've heard Disney may pick it up.
They should. Anyone should pick it up. Like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make money. Sometimes you just have to make choices that put the best content in the, like, this is genuinely creative content and it's great. Put it into the world.
Because they have all I don't
everything's
know
built still.
I know, but I'm talking about, like, in terms of rights, wouldn't Disney?
Oh, Jim Henson?
I mean, they got the Muppet stuff. They got, and they could very easily, and it could be the first time a Netflix show is actually canceled and then picked up by another streaming service, major streaming service.
Yeah. Usually Netflix is the one Netflix is like it's compost for TV. It's like it takes everything and just recycles it.
Took Cobra Kai, it took Lucifer. It actually took Lucifer and made it the most popular streaming show of of 2020.
Yeah, Lucifer wasn't watched by wife on the tube until it was picked up by Netflix. I think that character was Deet. I think, but I have issues with the Gelflings.
What's Deet?
Deet is the character that you showed on screen earlier.
Oh, Deet. Okay,
yeah.
Deet.
You have the Skeksis, which are like that. I think that's Deet. There are characters that are Skeksis, which all look like they're like space vultures essentially, and they're all very unique, and they all have like amazing actors behind them, and they're all easily recognizable because they have like each have like a certain job or certain functions, certain personality trait. Whereas the Gelflings I find are all just, I don't really like elves, and these are all basically little elvish creatures. I'm like, I whatever. They're all, you know.
Yeah. You know what? I think the fans of the show shouldn't worry, because I think Disney, I don't know, but wouldn't it make sense? But the thing is, it is a very expensive and complicated show, and I guess Netflix didn't get the views. That's why they scrapped
probably. It. I don't know if I don't know what the TV rating, like the rating was on this, and I don't know if they can put it on Netflix, on Disney Plus. Is this PG-13? It's really dark. It's horrible. It's a very, I know it's a kids show. They just won like the Emmy for like outstanding kids show. And I'm like, this may be puppets, but it's not appropriate for kids. It's horrible. It's horrifying. People are dying.
Well, there's stuff on Disney. There's stuff on Disney Plus that's not appropriate for little children, like all the PG-13 movies and some of the PG stuff that has what we would consider PG-13 material now, like Daryl Hannah's ass in Splash. What they do in that PG movie, you see a woman's bare ass, but what they do is they digitally put hair over it in the Disney version, so the kids don't see a butt. You know what I mean? Like, it's harmless. It really isn't totally harmless. It's not sexual in any way. She's just, I guess you.
Well, gotta see that hair.
In Adventures in Babysitting, that's a PG movie, and I think they leave in a line about Thor being a homo. That's the word that Anthony Rapp or his brother or somebody uses in that film. Okay. I think they keep that in, but there's a part where she says, "Don't fuck with the babysitter," and she says, "Don't fool with the babysitter," even though you can see her say "fuck." And Disney Plus, I don't think they would censor PG-13 material. For example, the shows, the movies that they have that are PG-13 that do feature the F word, like Hugh Jackman says the F word in a few X-Men movies, I believe. Not just the rated R one, which is not on there.
Not just Logan?
No, he says it in Days of Future Past when they go and ask him they try to recruit him and he says, "Go fuck yourself." They leave that in the Disney version, and they leave like some nudity in certain movies on Disney Plus because the warnings there, like it's PG-13, it has this and that in it. They even have warnings for fucking tobacco use, like somebody smoked in this movie in the background, so you got to warn the parents.
I buy, well, at least I used to buy manga. You know, the and when you buy, I bought like they have like this ultimate special perfect edition. They call it the perfect edition for like Dragon Ball, where you get the manga as it was originally published, like with the colors. Sometimes like each chapters had colors, sometimes they didn't, sometimes they had like some colors. The only things that they did was they censored a few things, and by censoring is like they took out cigarettes and stuff like that from the drawings, because they had like the original manga had like kids smoking and shit.
Oh yeah.
And they took that out. They're like, nah, we don't want to sell that. We can't market like a kid with a cigarette anymore. So yeah, smoking's become a thing that is frowned upon.
Before we move on to The Boys or Raised by Wolves, let's just take a look at some of these comments. We got 3 people here. Yeah, we got Earl Grey, Chucky, Starfleet Boy, and Gary was here at some point.
I do have to say that while I'm on the air, I am very disappointed that they canceled The Dark Crystal.
Yeah,
it was one of those shows, and it only happens now and then, where I rushed home to see the next episode. Like all of the season was out, but I was like, I gotta see this next episode because it's so good. But then I didn't want to like click on the next episode and watch immediately because I didn't want to watch all 10 or 13 or whatever it is straight away to be like, I was living it. I was loving it. So yeah.
Yeah, I want to revisit it because it is very beautiful to look at. It's just that
from
a
technical standpoint, it's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. And even if the story didn't interest me, I remember the first episode just being in awe of the technical achievement of the show just in general. Yeah. It's like, holy shit.
It was great. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like like all of the talent involved in building all of these miniature sets and the puppetry and just directing a show like that must be a whole other thing, right? To be able to direct puppets must be something completely different from directing like a live action show, I'm assuming. Or even animation. Yeah.
Be a lot more complicated, yeah. Yeah, so we got some Lucifer. Starfleet Boy's a fan of Lucifer. I need to get back into that. I've only seen the first episode. Indeed, as you said, CBS should get a GoFundMe for DS9 and Voyager remasters. Also, I've heard good things about Cobra Kai. I think he's referring to Starfleet Boy's comments on my boat wreck stream where he talked about the crowdfunding idea that I don't agree with, but I appreciate his views on that, though. I might watch Lucifer too. That's a damn nice top trick on the tube.
Oh, this is my Kendrick Lamar shirt.
All right.
He's got an album called Damn.
Which do you want to talk about first, Raised by Wolves or The Boys?
I don't know.
Up to you.
I don't know.
I'll give you a hint.
They've both fallen off.
Hello,
in
mother.
My opinion.
I'm trying to save the children, mother. I am useful.
Yeah.
I didn't say you weren't useful. I simply want the children to grow up.
I feel like I'm watching the show. This is genius.
Yes, mother. So, Sean, tell me what you think.
It's dragging out a bit.
Really? I like this at last. What was it? 6 and 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. 7. I thought it was. I thought it was ramping up.
Okay, it was ramping up. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they have nothing to say. As it stands, like there's the whole sex scene between Mother and the creator in her mind or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I'm like, we don't need that. None of this is useless. None of this is useful. Like there are some moments where I'm like, everything concerning the kids is great. I love how the kids are not just the kids; they're all actually characters. They all have like their own personalities, their own motivations, and everything like the soul troops.
When she's plugged into the what did he say?
He said the sex scene was awesome. Fuck you. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't good.
It is one of the most bizarre sex scenes I've ever seen in a TV show.
It is. It was unique. I'll tell you that. But I don't understand the point of it in the show apart from having people naked.
Well, there's a lot of symbolism there, obviously, about the creator. It's like almost like a mother-son thing. It's really, excuse me, creepy. God, I'm choking here. Went down the wrong pipe.
The voices are interesting. The voices in the head.
The creepy voices, yeah.
Yeah.
The creepy children voices creep me out. I actually had a nightmare. You know, the creepiest part was when, by the way, it's obviously spoilers, but when Campion is in the silo, and he has that claw, and they're like, Campion, kill yourself, and you can be with us. I was like, shit, man, that's some scary fucking creepy shit. And then the voices are talking to Marcus as well, the guy who, the imposter who took over what's the name of that guild? The Mithraic guild. And they're talking to him, telling him not to kill Mother over and over again. So on one hand, these voices are telling a kid to kill himself, and then they're telling this other guy not to kill the mother. And I'm like, what is this all about? It's one of them. the reason it's ramping up for me is the whole kid. Okay, let's just start from the whole when she's plugged in. She goes to this pod where she plugs herself in, and it's basically a way to get her backstory of how she went from being the murderous necromancer to a caregiver, basically.
Yeah,
and it shows
she's reprogrammed.
She's reprogrammed by a man named Campion, who tests her with a fake baby. I don't know if it's in the 5 or 6 that the baby scene happens.
I don't know.
I don't know, but that scene, like,
it wasn't the 7th.
It didn't scare me, but it gave me a fright when she breaks the baby's neck.
Yeah,
and you find out it's not real. It's an android, and that's why she did it. But yeah, I was like, oh. I was like, okay, yeah, they would never go that far. Come on, now. I don't want to see that kind of shit.
Well, no one does.
But I like the fact that we're getting a backstory on her, and she becomes kind of addicted to it. And she spends more and more time away from her family, which is actually
that I understand,
to her detriment.
Yeah. That I get all that. It's just that I felt like there was certain scenes in these last episodes where I was like, okay, I want to see what's gonna happen. But I suppose we've still got 3 episodes maybe to go. Is it going to be a 10 or an 8 episode season? 10. Okay, so
I'm not sure about the release order of the next episodes. I'm assuming.
Is there even the chosen one? Campion pull a fake dad. Is there? I'm disappointed that what's his name? Travis Fimmel has just gone full Ragnar now.
I like what they're doing with him, man.
Okay, he has Travis Fimmel has this way of acting kind of crazy, and that's his baseline Ragnar. And in these last episodes, the more he has the voices, the more he dives back, and he goes back into Ragnar Lothbrok, and so he's just gone back there with his crazy eyes and everything. I love him; he's great. It's just like it's Space Ragnar that I'm watching, but that's okay, I suppose.
Yeah.
I like Father the most. And I'm genuinely puzzled as to if he's faking or not right now. I think he's faking. My bit is that he's faking.
No, I don't think I am. I think yeah, okay, well, we'll get into that now, because what happens in the episode is that the Mithraic, or Travis Fimmel's character Marcus, finds that this is a vulnerability for the necromancer. And they wait for her to plug in, and then they try to attack her, and it goes wrong. And then they infiltrate their camp, and they take back the camp and take the children back and subdue Father, reprogram him, and strap Mother up in a silo. And she's captive now. And they put Campion away because he doesn't want to believe in soul. He doesn't want to convert. But the other kid's name Paul? The little kid? I don't know. The son of Marcus. The son of Marcus? What's his name? Anyway, the little kid's trying to convert Campion and come to the dark side and all this stuff. So basically, Father gets reprogrammed.
Yeah.
And he does get shot in the hand, remember? Earlier, he gets shot in the hand, and then when he's reprogrammed, they constantly focus on his finger twitching. You notice that?
Yeah.
Right up until the part where he grabs the rope.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he is reprogrammed, but there's a part of him that's underneath trying to get out, it's trying to overwrite the program. So I don't think he's faking it, but I think he's there.
Okay.
And he's trying to kind of break loose, and his instinctive reaction to saving or grabbing the rope at the end or whatever is he saves Mother, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw this episode a week ago. Forgive me.
I think he's faking it because he catches Campion when Campion's running around out of that makeshift church that they built.
Okay.
Because I think that Father wanted to protect the life of Campion, but he couldn't do it in such an evident way, right? He couldn't start running away with him or that kind of stuff. But Campion would have never survived had he let him go. They would have shot him, they would have killed him, they would have captured him, they would have done something. So I think his solution, father's solution, was I'm going to catch him and put him back in the silo. That way he lives.
Yeah. That's a good theory. And if your theory is right, if yours is right, then it would be funny that he's that would mean he's purposely fucking up and spilling shit on people out of contempt.
Yes, because he spills that water on the and they're all like he's reprogrammed clumsily or something. Like he's got. I don't think so. I think he's doing that as like these are subtle. This is his passive aggressiveness.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a dick. I like it. I love it.
In that context, yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Yeah, it's Starfleet Boy also thinks he's faking it.
Well, that's I think so.
That would be an intelligent strategy, though, if he wasn't really fully reprogrammed.
I've become so attached to him that I don't want to. I want. He's poor guy. He's died twice. He's been reprogrammed. Poor character. Poor father. And he's the nicest of them all. He's the most genuine character on the show because most of these other people are all faking and what have you. You know who I like? Strange Haircut Man. The second to now Travis Fimmel to Marcus.
Oh, the guy. Like the guy whose father he apparently killed.
Yeah, the leader soldier. That guy.
What about?
I like him.
Oh yeah, he's nice.
I think he's nice. I think like he has faith, and so he follows his faith, and so but he's always following the orders of like the most kind of logical or like the least insane person. He's legitimately concerned for like the children, and he just wants to set up a nice colony. He's not like crazy. I don't know. I think
he seems to be the most benign of the Matraic tribe. Like the whole thing with his father and how. Something like he said, Marcus assures him your father wasn't a coward, and that puts a smile on his face. Even though Marcus knows nothing about his father.
Bullshitting all of this.
Well, yeah. Did you like the whole infiltration of the camp and stuff like that? I thought that was like intense, and how like they were. The little kid ran away and mother ran after him, and then out of nowhere Marcus comes in and cuts her up, and it's like really intense stuff.
That was good. I liked all that. I liked the whole thing where one of the kids tells the soldiers where father is. He's like, he's on the top of the silo. I'm like, all of that was great. I think it's got some good action in it.
That was the best action scene, I think, in the show so far, the whole camp infiltration scene.
The damn actor has to run like an android, too.
Did you ever think of how uncomfortable those suits are for those two actors? They look
so uncomfortable.
It's like TNG Season 1 uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, they really... You know what they are? They're probably Borg Queen uncomfortable. Yeah, no, they don't... Yeah,
7 of 9 and Voyager uncomfortable. She went through some shit in that suit, by the way, Jerry Ryan. Like that was not good for her. Earl Grey Checky says, Trek on the Tube, I'm surprised you have Discovery posters. They're nice.
They were sent over by Trekker Prize. When I first needed something a wall to build to look a bit more Star Trek, he sent over some Discovery posters, so yeah.
Yeah, that scene was amazing, by the way, where they first tried to capture her.
Oh,
with just goes nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
good. And in terms of special effects and just action and just general production value in a TV show, this is like, it's up there.
So this is where she's clearly insane because she doesn't kill them. If it had been really her, she probably would have murdered them all. She just made their brains explode, right? But she didn't do that. She picked up rocks and threw rocks around. But then that's not very efficient. Like, she could have just blown their heads up.
Yeah, I know. That's interesting.
But she didn't do that. So
maybe she was damaged or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking this show is too intelligent to make a mistake. Like, oops, we should have had her killed them, but for story purposes, we would rather have her just throw rocks around. I'm thinking, no, they must have done that for a reason. She's probably, she's going to malfunction anyway. Eventually, she's malfunctioning more and more, I think.
Yeah, and you know what the show is like? It's like you don't know where it's headed. You really don't know what's next. I find I can't predict.
No.
Like, I can get a sense of what might happen, but man, it's
Do you think there's more humans that will arrive eventually?
Well, there's a whole other element with these voices. They're an alien presence. We get like these figures, which I assumed at first was like a vision from the pod for Mother to lure her to the pod. And that's what she thinks, but I'm thinking, no, there's some kind of malicious alien presence here that's fucking with you guys.
I have no idea why. But okay, Starfleet Boy says he thinks there are more humans coming. I think that the arc that they arrived was like a scout arc, or like an initial colony setup thing. It was like you have to like first set up a small colony, and then all of the other humans are coming. So I think there's a whole lot of other humans coming, like multiple ships. But I don't know why. I'm convinced that there are people living on this planet, other beings, aliens living down those pits.
Yes.
And I don't know why. Like ever since episode 1,
mole people.
Yes, I think there are alien life, like alien people, because they talk about how there's no one left or something in the first episode. We got rid of them all, or like there's no one left here or something.
Yeah,
I feel like there were people living down in those holes.
Well, you got the whole artifact that the Matrake find that burns the main guy.
Oh yeah, there's that. Yes, that was so the Expanse.
Yeah, that's I don't know if we're gonna get answers to these questions by the end of the season, though. I think they're gonna. I don't know.
What is that? We just left that, by the way. There's it was like a hexagon or whatever it was, just sitting there.
Yeah, we have to go back to that at some point.
Yeah,
Starfleet Boy said, "Remember the thing."
That's right. It did. It burned the priest.
Yeah, that's parallel thought because I didn't see that comment before he made it or whatever. And Earl Grey Trekkie says, "I think you should have the opportunity to create an interesting conflict or dynamic by introducing new people in an episode." Yeah, probably episode 8. We might get some new people, and look who we have.
The season's gonna end. Oh my goodness, the season's gonna end with a whole fleet of Mithraic ships arrive, right?
Starfleet Boy's here with his audio avatar, which is a drawing that he did of the Enterprise D.
I need that printed and framed.
It's good. Do you guys hear an echo or anything? I don't know if this is. I'm on my iPad. I don't know if this works.
We can hear you.
Oh,
awesome. It's not Starfleet Boy quality sound.
It's shit
if
audio.
That's what you're asking.
You have to speak up a bit or hold it closer.
Hold on, let me try to connect my headphones. I'll be right back.
All right.
Yeah, I think that they've dragged this season out a bit more than what they should have, but then that we'll talk about it more once these final episodes come out, because maybe it's all going to come together with these 3 final episodes. It's so strange the way they're releasing this because they released 3 initially, then 1 and 2 now episodes.
The first 3 episodes the first week, and then 2 every week after, and I believe. Thursday will be episodes 8 and 9, and I think 10 will be the week after.
Okay.
Like they'll save the season finale, which I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be like feature length or
Oh, okay. They might do like a double or whatever.
But yeah, I love the release order. I think it's like you're watching a movie every week. It's like literally you're sitting down for 2 hours of a show every week. And yeah,
it's different.
It's different.
It's a short season, but they made it even shorter, I suppose, by doing this. But it was done intelligently because these episode 6 and 7, they do connect very well.
Yeah, they flow right into each other.
Yeah, exactly. They tell kind of the same. I mean, the whole all of the episodes tell the same story, but
and I'm pretty sure that was an agreement. Ridley Scott probably mandated like, if we're gonna do this, I want it in this release order because this is the way I want people to absorb the story every week, and it's actually very effective, and very very pleasing to watch. Starfleet Boys back.
All right, I think I'm. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, you're better. You're better.
Okay, sweet.
So, do you have any thoughts on this latest episodes of Raised by Wolves?
Yeah, other than the creepy children voices, I really like everything, and I didn't think it slowed down. Although, well, no, it did slow down a little, but I thought it also picked up really, with everything you guys were talking about, with like the way they caught Mother, and it actually affected me really deeply. Like, I did not want Mother to be caught. I really like that character, and I thought, I want her to win for some reason, even though I know she could just like scream and blow everyone. Everyone up. I don't know.
I want Father to win.
I do. I want them both to win. I want them to get like really renew their vows of whatever it is that they have, and continue as a unit.
All right. Do you want to?
Father feels really inadequate.
It's the kids. It's the kids that we're dealing with like android insecurity, which is very interesting.
Well, his objective, like he has to feel useful, like he has to serve, like his purpose is to serve, and when he's not doing it, it's like his program wills him to do so. So he will bring up things like, and they obviously have been programmed with emotions.
I relate very much so
feelings
to
of empathy
Father
and stuff.
You relate to Father.
I do. Sometimes you're like, oh my god, am I competent enough? Am I useful enough? What can I do to be useful in this world?
I think PJ is a little ahead of you, and maybe he can speak to a more successful, like a further in the future Father.
Yeah, he's Father, but in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, fathers need to feel useful, I guess. Yeah, unless they don't want to. That's up to them. But mother's neglecting the family.
I'm gonna hop back on the chat because the connection's really bad, and you guys keep cutting out. So, but thanks for having me on for a few minutes.
All right.
I thought you were just gonna come on here and scream at me because we needed more sex scenes.
Yes, and also you used to compliment the way I dress. You used to say I was so flash, but you don't say that anymore. Thanks. Bye.
Throwing shade at you. All right, let's move on to the boys.
Okay.
This latest episode. Sorry. Yeah. So Laser My Tits. That's a highlight of the show. That's going to be a thing now. It's like the boys will be remembered for certain things, fatal cunnilingus, fucking singing gills, and
the whale,
and yeah, this is superhero sex, but now Laser My Tits.
Again with the sex. I'm sorry, superhero sex doesn't work on screen.
Yes.
I don't think it does. I saw it the first time I saw that was like
it's weird.
And Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And they feel compelled. This is the second time they feel compelled to not only do superhero sex, but also like we're breaking everything in the apartment kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think superhero sex translates as well on screen as people think in their mind. People have this, oh my god, superhero sex is so cool. And then when you film it, it doesn't look right. That was the best part of that whole thing, where it stopped and it was like, Laser My Tits. They do the Laser My Tits thing. And then all of the sex was kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
One of the funny things about the whole, the superheroes in this show is even when they're having sex, they have their costumes on. You never see them without their costumes. I think you see
their boots on, don't they?
Oh my god! Yeah, they're just pulling down the parts they need to get the job done. And it's like, but there is a trope now. It's like where two superheroes have sex. It's got to be like beat everything up and beat each other and throw each other across the room and stuff like that. And I would like to see, it would have been cool. Been like, she's like, Laser My, I don't want to say that word too much, but yeah, laser my bosoms. And then it was just like a nice little like kind of softcore 80s TV movie of the week kind of sex scene. That would have been funnier, I think. Just like you think, because right before, when this all goes down between Homelander and Stormfront, they have sex. Before they have sex, I'm thinking, are they going to do that thing where they throw each other around and beat each other up? And like not even before the thought was thunk, they start doing it. I'm like, okay, but I didn't dislike it. I was just like, I don't know. Season 2 for some reason doesn't feel as strong as season 1. Not saying it's bad, but it's just like they're kind of just experimenting in this season, I find.
I don't like the Billy Butcher, like first
Billy
season,
Butcher. The whole Billy Butcher is the softie now, and
I don't know. No, it's more like Billy Butcher's on the team, he's off the team, he's on the team, he's off. It's flippy floppy, and I don't like that. I like the whole. At the end of season 1, he leaves. Like, yeah, and he gets.
Well, he's got to
taken
go
away
to get his girl.
Yeah, got to get the girl, but then he gets dropped off somewhere. So you have this whole 3-episode story where like we got to bring Billy Butcher back. We're gonna bring him back. He's part of the team. He's the leader. This and that. They have that. They bring him back, and then episode 4 and 5, like he's leaving again. They gotta go get him again. It's like, just I want to see these guys beat up superheroes. I want to see like a team go up against Supes.
Yeah.
And I don't know where they're going with. And so I was kind of underwhelmed by the whole Black Noir situation. Like Black Noir goes to confront Billy Butcher, and as much as I love seeing what is his name, Giancarlo Esposito, I love seeing him.
Yeah.
Gus Fring, bad guy from every show. I love seeing him, but I didn't understand really what was going on with the whole. It's like I've got photos of this. Oh no! Now I have to call off Black Noir. It's like, couldn't they have a fight? I wanted to see a fight.
I like the whole neighborhood Black Noir stuff. I liked it because I didn't want.
It was so obvious.
I don't want Billy Butcher to be sulking the whole episode. I wanted something to happen.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with Frenchie and Kamiko. Is that her name? Kamiko?
Oh, Kamiko. Yeah. Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's the weekly format now, because before, the way I absorbed The Boys, it was all in kind of one shot, and individual episodes really didn't stand out to me because I kind of absorbed it as a season. I didn't watch it all the way through, but in a couple of days I watched it, right? And it was like the first season, and it was late to the game. And this one, it's like, it feels like the last 2 episodes have been like a kind of lull, even though there are interesting aspects like Stormfront and her interaction with Starlight and this whole like cattiness. However, Stormfront's whole thing where she goes, "Oh, poor little," and she does this thing, you know what I mean? She's like always fucking up everybody's ass with this blatant sarcasm. And
yeah, like, well, Stormfront's a good addition.
She's a good addition, but she's getting kind of annoying now. But I did not see her and Homelander hooking up. I got to be honest, I didn't see that coming.
You didn't see that coming?
Nope. I thought,
but that's why they did the 6 change though, because Stormfront's a man in the comic books.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
And I was like, and so people, like, someone was explaining to me who Stormfront was, and I was like, but they cast a lady. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, okay, so they want this lady to have sex with Homelander. That's the entire reason why it's a woman. I can see no other purpose to doing that. Well, maybe because you can sprinkle some feminist messages, I suppose, in the way the character's portrayed. But yeah,
she's a, when in fact the character is like a rabid racist. Oh, there's a scene where she's talking to, who's the fast guy again? Damn, I keep forgetting his name.
A-Train.
A-Train. That scene where she's talking to A-Train.
That is such a good scene. Oh my god. The performances were outstanding and it is so well written. She never technically says anything racist. Like she never says
it's all implied, yeah.
Yeah, it's all, but it's so obvious.
And he knows he knows what she's talking about.
That's
too.
the thing. We know she was, what was she called? Justice or whatever?
Liberty.
We know Liberty. We know she was called Liberty, and we know that she was like basically a Klan member. We know this, but he doesn't. But he understands, right? He understands that she's talking about.
He knows she's a piece of shit.
Oh,
even more so than him, right? Because he's not a nice. He killed his girlfriend.
He's not the best guy. No, he's kind of a dick. He's
a murderer. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all murderers, aren't they?
They're all murderers anyway at this point. Yeah. Starlight isn't. Is she? No. She's the only one that's the closest to a good character, I think.
Starfleet Boy says the scene where Homelander imagines obliterating the protesters was super heavy. Totally fooled me because I really thought he was cracking. That's a good point to bring up because they give that away in the original trailer for season 2, where he's standing on a stage and you don't see the crowd getting lasered, but you see the front row, like you see the laser eyes obliterate the army guy and stuff.
Okay.
And in the trailer, you're like, I was even thinking, it's like, are they really going there, or is that like some kind of fantasy or dream?
I didn't believe it for 1 second. It's too early.
Exactly. And then it happened in the episode, and he's getting really upset. And then the other like straightforward like massacre that happens in a span of a couple of seconds, I was like, no, that's too much. So it had me fooled for probably a split second.
If they had done just the army guy, that would have fooled me. If they had just done like, because then he's too intense, he's got the laser eyes on, and it's just like, okay, no. But if he had just gone the boom, blown up the dude and be like, I'd be like, oh my god. And I could have seen him doing that, but then. So my question is, why doesn't the Homelander do that, though, at this point? Because he's got this sick need where he wants everyone to love him, or he needs the love of the masses, maybe. Because at this point, his reputation is kind of crumbling. No one in the Seven likes him. No one at Vought cares for him. Nothing matters, I guess. Lady's dead. Why doesn't he just kill people?
Well, he has a complex. He was raised without human contact, basically, which is not the way a human being should be raised. So his psychosis is based on like how he was treated as a child, and he wasn't necessarily abused. That's the thing. That's the really interesting thing about Homelander, is that he wasn't jokerized. He wasn't like a kid that was abused and literally brain damaged. He was a superpowered being that everybody was afraid of from the time he was a baby. You see that scene in the first season where the guys, they're behind the wall, like showing him, like playing with the kid, but he's just in a room and he's like a happy little baby who's liking the fact that people are paying attention to him, but without that human contact. That's why he's so obsessed with the breast milk. You know, there's he doesn't have, he's never felt the warmth of a parent or a mother, you know what I mean? Like, and this actually is what created this. Not only that, his power is corrupting him, and the fact that he knows, and he's grown up with the fact that people are afraid of him, and often they don't like him, and he always puts on this smile and this fake bravado of, I'm with the people, I'm your friend, like me. And at the same time, it's like, if you don't fucking like me, I'll fucking murder you all. Like, that's the way he is. And Anthony Starr plays him, man. Holy shit. Like, I'm baffled why he didn't get like Emmy consideration for that first season. I don't know about the second season though. I don't think they're doing enough with him. Like the whole thing with the son. Earl Grey said earlier about the son. What are they going to do with him? I don't think they're going to do anything with him in this season, to be honest. Maybe they'll hint at something at the end, but what was the whole point of him?
Okay,
I'm thinking like doing that whole thing with his son earlier, and they're
Exactly.
kind of like leaving that on the wayside now.
Exactly. The 3 first episodes of this season were very, very strong because they started setting up all of these things, like setting up the son story. They're bringing Billy Butcher back. They're setting up kind of the Liberty thing, and I think it's in episode 4 that we really learn about Liberty and who she was. And it's like, and now you have to take these split things someplace, right? I want to see them address the Liberty situation. They have information on her. They could release information about her. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. This season, well, yeah, it's a weaker season generally speaking, and I think I don't know if it's like specifically episode 5 that isn't as good.
Thanks for joining us.
I think Starfleet Boy's leaving.
Starfleet Boy had to go too.
All right, everyone's gone. Well, Robbie's still here. I don't know if they're going to things are going to pick up in these final episodes, but I think it's these two. I think it's episode 4 and 5 that kind of just dropped a bit. I don't know if one of isn't as good, an episode specifically. I think just story wise, I don't know where they're going, and like the whole Frenchie.
Oh yeah, Kimiko stuff. Oh my god, I'm so sick of him. Like, don't do this. What are you doing? Come back to me. And I'm sorry about the accent, but yeah,
well,
it's like enough of him. Like
that was fine in the first season, but now that's become his character.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound like we're bashing on the boys. I am thoroughly entertained by the show still. I'm just talking about like the slight drop in quality, I find anyway. But it's all right.
Well, we got used to something high quality. Like there was a high standard, and there was a first season to live up to.
What do you think of Queen Maeve's whole thing with Homelander, where he's like kind of shoving the lesbian relationship down her throat? And there's I think this is the most brilliant scene in the episode, where they have Maeve and her girlfriend sitting there, and they're pitching.
Oh, that's
how she should look, how she should act, and what kind of lesbian she should be. And there's an off comment where she's like, "Well, actually, we're bisexual. We're not lesbian."
That's harder to sell.
And they're like, "That's harder." Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Like, what
do you think that's a commentary on? Is that comment because we hear about this whole thing about a go woke? What is it? Go woke, get woke, go broke. It's like if you try to push tokenism and wokeness too much, it becomes it becomes less credible almost. You know what I mean? It becomes less genuine.
Yeah. There's a fine line in the industry, I think, that everyone's walking with. Like when you got a new show that's coming out, you want to pitch a new show, you got to make it woke, right? Because you can't have you can't have the all male, all white heterosexual cast. So you do like that diversity you have, but there's this thing I think where you have to walk the line where you want to still get there's like masses of audiences out there that are still not accustomed or still not I think interested in seeing maybe like a homosexual couple, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, let's tone it down and not go like too. They don't want to do like pan characters. Let's not do pan characters. That's too confusing. Let's just do, if we're going to do like an LGBT representation, it's 2 ladies. But then as they say in the episode, it's like, well, we're going to do 2 ladies, but one of them dresses like a man. As to not, like, we don't want to confuse gender roles. I think it's good commentary. I'm afraid Queen Maeve's character is just that now. She has just become, like, she wasn't anyone before. Like in season 1, Queen Maeve is nothing more than like, what is she?
Well, she's struggling with the fact that she, the brilliant thing about her is when they do that whole plane scene,
she doesn't know if
she has to live with the fact, and some of that internal conflict that they explored with her was interesting. But
that's better. They should have gone back to that, and like she's maybe getting in touch with Billy Butcher, or she's trying to find different avenues in which she can like stop being such a yes I was going to say yes man, but a yes woman to Homelander and to Homelander's basically desires on how to run the 7, but instead they've taken it like now she's just being manipulated or controlled, I suppose, by Homelander.
Well, she's trying to take back some control now because she goes to A-Train. Not A-Train, the Deep. And she says he's trying to rehabilitate his image with this whole marriage shit, right? And you can totally tell, what is it, the Church of the Collective. It's like basically Scientology. And, you know, I was frustrated with his character earlier in the season. Like, oh, what are they doing with him? That whole dating
somehow
audition thing.
It was one of the more interesting things in episode 5 because everything else fell off. And so somehow the Deep I'm like, what are they doing with this guy already?
But that commercial he does, where he's like, "Hey kids, hey," he tells the guy like, "Don't do that to the girl or whatever."
How does anyone believe that? I have trouble believing that. I think in the world of The Boys, most people are
it's so satirical.
The
show itself is becoming more and more apparent that they always talk about what if superheroes were real and they were owned by a corporation. And I've heard like other opinions, like this is the realistic take on superhero shows. I'm like, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's like a full-on comedic satire.
It was, I think.
At the beginning, I think. Yeah,
I would argue that season 1 was more like, this is how it would be done if it were like real. I'm like, okay, but now it's become. Is it a parody of itself? Almost the show. Now they're pushing the limit. Really so far. Like the people in this world are so stupid. Can't they see that these people are just mad?
The woman who replaced Madeline, I forget her character's name, but the really uptight one who's always worried all the time.
Yeah, anxiety girl.
Anxiety girl. She has a couple of lines where she's in earlier episodes where she's talking about what if we get a diversity cast? She's talking about diversity casting. It would be better to have an ethnic man. No, even better, an ethnic woman. You know what I mean? Like, it's all about like it's a commentary on this whole claim that certain elements of Hollywood virtue signal too much, and inclusion and diversity is been, or the exclusion of certain groups has been, in fact, the real agenda in Hollywood for years and years and years, right? It's like, and it's a slow process. And the Boys is doing something now where it's like they're commenting on woke culture without being the enemy of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like people can say like, people can claim virtual signaling. I don't, but like I can understand why people claim that, because like, you're overblowing an aspect of somebody's gender or sexuality that doesn't need to be blown up in certain instances. Like in the best shows that include diversity don't ever talk about it. You know what I mean? They just put it in there. Yeah, it's like here.
The Expanse, you have like the most diverse cast of characters, be it like ethnicity-wise, gender-wise, sexual orientation, just like religion even. You just have like all of these characters, but you never address that. You never talk about that. They're just there doing the job.
I'm 6 episodes into Schitt's Creek, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't know, because they technically don't say it, but the son in the show, Eugene Levy's actual son, who was the writer and stuff, by the way, it just swept the Emmys. That's the only reason I started watching them. Like, I'm going to get a load of this Canadian show now, because
Schitt's Creek won all of the Emmys. So I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, really? That's a good show.
No, I got a few people at work that are telling me to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So,
but the son seems to be gay, right? He's clearly a gay man in the show. 6 episodes in, but they never say anything. They never bring attention to it at all. And it's like, yes, because in shows now, characters can exist without you saying, oh, that person's a trans person or that person's a non-binary. It's like, no, they're just there, and they're just characters in a show.
Well, that's more representative of how it is in real life.
Yeah,
like you don't arrive at the workplace and say, "Hi, my name is Steven and I'm gay." You're like, "Hi, my name is Steven. What are we doing today?" Like, what, that's how life is.
Do you remember the 90s when they would have a gay guy? He would always have to be like flailing around and
just super exaggerated.
It's like
and it would always be like a guest character too. Like the gay character would never really stay. It would just be the brother of someone that would come in for a while and then leave. Different era.
Earl Grey Trekkie asks, "Is Schitt's Creek any good?" Yes, I'm 6 episodes in, and it's a very well made. Catherine O'Hara is brilliant. Eugene Levy, Daniel Levy. I forget the sister's name. I'm just getting to know these. I've known about Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara since I was a little kid. But yeah, it's so great to see them in an actual really good show. But
you don't think American Pie is actually good?
Eugene Levy is good. The American Pie movies are like okay. You got nothing else to watch, especially the first one. For some, actually, there's nudity in all of them. I think there's the kind of nudity I don't prefer in the last one.
I don't remember any of that.
Full on Beans and Franks and.
Okay, I don't remember any of that. I remember the first one being all right, and then there's one that happens at like a band camp, and I'm like, what?
No, there were spin-offs. There were multiple straight-to-video spin-offs, but they're actual 4 theatrically released movies.
Okay.
Everybody was obsessed with Shannon Elizabeth back then, man. Like people were obsessed.
Oh, really?
Like back before the internet was like a thing where you could get everything. Pictures of her from that movie were readily available. You know what I mean? Like in the early days. It was only 19. It wasn't really early days. It was 1999. But yeah.
Okay, this is before the internet.
Those really shitty pixelated images that used to load on the screen like this. Like that. It's like, man, this picture's really loading fast. We got 56K modem. Remember the
old school
56K modem? Holy shit, that was back in the day. Yeah. So the boy. What else? There was one thing I wanted. There was something else I want to talk about with that episode. Jesus, what was it? The Deep Church of Collective. Maeve goes to him and says, "I'll get you back into the 7," and he's like, "Yeah, cool."
She doesn't buy into any of his bullshit, by the way. She's like,
"Yeah."
No.
The Homelander thing. What happens with him? He accidentally kills a bystander, and the public revolts against him, and he can't quite recover from it. So he goes to Stormfront, who uses her minions to
send out memes.
Yeah, to back him, basically. Yeah. So that's how that episode turns out, and then they have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this episode that was less good, but the thing is, I'm still very much entertained by the boys, and like a lot of the scenes, a lot of what I'm seeing on the show, they highlight like the really good moments. They highlight moments. It's all very good. It's quality still, I think, but there has been a drop, I think, in like they've lost focus maybe a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to pick up in the next few episodes. Hopefully. I mean, that's the way it is. I think maybe the weekly release schedule doesn't work for a show like this. Maybe that's the thing. I don't know. It's weird to absorb a show all at once and then.
People have been complaining about that. I'm one of the last people I find that enjoys this weekly format. I like the discussion. Like every week we can talk about the boys, we can talk about Raised by Wolves, we can talk about these shows as they come out. I like that. So yeah.
Yeah, this is a perfect segue. Thanks for the comment, Earl Grey Trekkie. He says Paramount Plus should pick up Lower Decks. Now, just to let you know, Paramount owns Lower Decks. Everything that's on CBS All Access now will be on Paramount Plus. The only difference is there will be a hell of a lot more.
So the Mission Impossible movies, all of that, Transformers.
everything produced by Paramount, everything Nickelodeon, everything BET, everything MTV.
Oh, a whole lot of garbage.
Yeah, like you'll have Beavis and Butthead Do America on there. It's like you'll have all the Star Trek movies, all the Star Trek shows.
That's in the US. Are they planning on rolling Paramount Plus out internationally? Do we know that, or do we not know that yet?
Yes, it works differently for different countries, though, due to licensing. If some countries, like Bell Media, licenses everything Star Trek. So if you get CBS All Access in Canada, you will get everything on CBS All Access minus whatever's on any other Canadian version of Prime or Netflix, or you will have duplicates. So like Schitt's Creek is on Netflix and Prime. Sons of Anarchy is on Netflix and Prime in Canada. You know what I mean? Some shows double over.
Okay.
Like you, but you will, in terms of Star Trek, you will never see, say, anything Star Trek on CBS All Access. I think you will.
I suppose these deals are gonna
because it's already on Netflix and Crave.
But that's gonna go away, right? They signed this for a certain amount of years, and that's gonna disappear. Paramount, Viacom, CBS.
Canada's unique, though. Canada's unique. Canada's different from other countries in terms of Star Trek and Paramount Plus because the international release of Paramount Plus, like say, other countries don't have big streaming services like Crave does. Crave is like a big Canadian streaming service that acquires everything Trek, so it won't change when Paramount Plus comes out. If there is I'm pretty sure there will be a Canadian version of Paramount Plus that will have most likely all the Star Trek shows. Now, that's what I think they should do because I think, but see, the licensing agreement means that if Bell has Lower Decks and all the new Trek and all the old Trek, yes, it's on Canadian Netflix, but that's a worldwide thing. They can't have it on Paramount Plus or CBS All Access, the Canadian version, because it will take away from Crave, and that could be part of the legal language. Like you can't do that. But yeah, I don't know what they're going to do there. But it is being. I know some countries are going to get it. Like it's not going to be just the United States. Like they got to roll it out.
I don't know how it works, but like if it, like in a perfect world, they would be able to roll out Paramount Plus internationally. Like every country has access to Paramount Plus, and they would be able to. I don't know if you can buy back the rights. Like just if I were Viacom CBS, I would be looking into paying Crave to get back all of the rights to all of the Star Trek that I've already leased out to them. Like you guys are the ones distributing Star Trek at the moment in Canada. We don't want that anymore. We'll pay you this much, so that's not the case anymore. We'll take it all back, and we're going to dump it all on Paramount Plus so that we're the ones distributing all of this new Star Trek and all of this old Star Trek. I would find a way to do that. It might cost a lot. I don't know how these things work, but
that would be interesting if Crave, when Paramount Plus came out, like Crave was just all of a sudden void of all Star Trek. But I can't see that happening because it will still air on CTV, which is Bell Media as well. So my guess is that they'll keep the license, and if there is a Canadian version of Paramount Plus, it may have the Star Trek movies because we don't have. It's very hard to get Star Trek movies on streaming in Canada for some reason. Like they're never on there.
Oh well, there's never all of the movies at one place and what have you.
And you know what? If there was a Canadian version of Paramount Plus where say like, okay, I get my new Trek on Crave, but I get the old Trek on Paramount, I would still get Paramount Plus because they're gonna have a lot of shit plus all the movies. So I hope
Paramount. Well, what I'm hoping most of all, because we in Canada are still able to see the new shows, especially Lower Decks. What I'm hoping is Paramount Plus rolls out internationally, and people in Europe can officially legally see Lower Decks on Paramount Plus. And other countries as well.
By the time it rolls out internationally, it'll already be on there anyway. But
you think?
Why wouldn't you think Lower Decks would be on Paramount Plus? Wouldn't be on Paramount Plus?
No, I mean like I'm hoping that it will come out on Paramount Plus in Europe. I don't even know if Paramount Plus is going to hit Europe.
I don't know. I know that
Facebook is no longer going to be available in Europe. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Europe over there with all their.
Oh, they're changing privacy laws on the internet, and there's this whole thing where they're having Facebook apply all of these new privacy laws, like they have to abide by them. And I think Mark Zuckerberg was like, "Nah, we'll just remove Facebook from Europe and see what happens."
So one last, okay, we're gonna wrap it up here, but one last thing before we go with the Paramount Plus thing. What do you think it will do for the? We're gonna get into a little bit of Trek talk. What do you think it'll do for the future of Trek? Do you think it will actually ramp up? Like, okay, we got 6 shows coming out.
Right.
7 shows, including short treks.
Modern if it's done right, yes. If it's done right, and if Paramount Plus is available all across the world, and it has a full catalog of Star Trek, with a few countries being exception, maybe like Canada won't have like the entire catalog, maybe there'll be a few exceptions, but if generally speaking, anyone across the world can just purchase a Paramount Plus account, go on and watch any new Star Trek and any old Star Trek, I think that would be the best thing to happen to the Star Trek franchise, and I think that'll help it a lot. People need to be able to see these new shows without jumping through hoops, without like subscribing to different services. They need to be able to just go to a place where all of Star Trek is there, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna watch some old Star Trek because I was a fan of The Next Generation growing up." And it's like, "Oh, but they did a follow up to that. They did Picard. Let me watch Picard." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I enjoyed this show. What about this new movie that's coming out? Because they might do like video on demand service movies, like streaming movies. Or what about, I think that'll help the franchise a lot. That's how I would do it, and that's how. Agree. Because having like things like Prodigy, that's coming out on Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
I don't know. How do I see that? How do I see that here? Crave.
Crave will most definitely have Prodigy on there.
Okay.
Because Crave takes from HBO Max, it takes from Showtime, it takes from HBO proper, like the actual channel.
But how will they see that in Europe?
It takes from CBS All Access. I don't know.
Do you have to pay for like the Nickelodeon channel specifically? So then you have to have Amazon Prime, Netflix, the Nickelodeon channel, and you can't see Lower Decks. That's how it is currently.
They haven't announced how Prodigy would be seen in other countries. I'm assuming by the time it comes out, like you said, if Paramount Plus is fully international and the whole catalog is available, Lower Decks, anything Nickelodeon, anything Lower Decks, anything Discovery, anything Star Trek would be available.
Yeah, and you'd have like a Paramount Plus Kids tab essentially on the service, where you have all of the kids shows, like all of the Nickelodeon shows, all of the Nick Jr. Nick Jr. is going to be on there as well.
Just look at what Disney Plus has done in the almost year that they've been in operation now. The Mandalorian is going to be coming out, and the minute that is released worldwide, so many people watch it at the one time, and that's the beautiful thing. That's what you want. You want synergy. You want everybody experiencing it at the same time, so you can get that traffic and trending on the internet. Because like the newer Star Trek, it's like people see it at different times, like a day later on Netflix.
No, that's not good.
No. I would rather they release it on whatever platform, day and date, everywhere. Like they've started doing with Crave and CBS All Access. They've synced those up now. You get it a little bit earlier on CBS All Access, but like pretty much 12 o'clock Pacific time, new episodes come out.
That's it.
Of anything.
Designate a time. It's like this day, this time is when this show is coming out, and everyone can start tweeting their spoilers at the same time.
Exactly.
Right? There's a bunch of people that will tweet while they're watching the episode. Others will watch the episode and then start tweeting. But then you can really get that because the hashtag Baby Yoda, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, that's how. But it makes sense to roll out shows that way nowadays. I don't. Half the shows have like a little in the corner of the screen. They've got that little watermark hashtag anyway. Hashtag the boys. Hashtag Vikings. So yeah.
Well, that's a great note to leave it on, Sean, and we're going to leave it there. And I want to thank you for joining me and having this lively discussion about various topics in TV and film. Although we didn't talk about any film, did we? Oh, by the way, check out all the...
WandaVision.
Oh, yeah, WandaVision. We didn't talk about that. What do you think of that? Let's end it with a little brief...
A little MCU. We haven't heard of the MCU for years now.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued for WandaVision.
It looks different.
It looks different. It looks different. I can't wait to see what they do with that. And I've always been a fan of Vision, at least in the movies. So I'm happy to see him come back. And I think that Scarlet Witch doesn't get enough credit for being a total goddamn badass in the MCU.
And she is, yeah. Especially in the last two Avengers films.
Oh my God,
really see her shine. All right.
Literally.
You killed my husband. All right, folks. Until next time, stay frosty.